Season 6 of Apex is finally here, and with this brand new season we also get to see a brand new legend in this game, and this legend is Rampart. Rampart is a defensive legend, and based on every single ability that she has in the game right now, it's very clear what type of player Respawn actually wants to main Rampart. And as soon as I jumped into a few games using this brand new legend, I had to play a bit more defensive. I had to lay back because every single ability that she has kind of complements a very defensive and passive playstyle, right? So let's talk about this brand new legend, guys. And is Rampart any good? Is she gonna break the curse of every single new legend being trash? Let's take a look and see. So first up, let's take a look at every single one of Rampart's abilities for you guys who haven't played Rampart as yet or just don't really know what her abilities are in the game. So first up, we have a passive ability which is called Modded Loader, and you have an increased magazine capacity and faster reload time for every single LMG in this game, as well as Rampart's minigun, which is the ultimate Sheila. Now I'll talk more about this ability as the video goes on, but just keep in mind that this is a very effective and a very important ability for Rampart to have, right? So keep this in mind. Next up, we have Rampart's tactical ability, which is called Armed Cover. Build a crouch cover wall which deploys a full cover armed wall that blocks incoming shots and arms outgoing shots. Again, guys, it's a very defensive ability. You can kind of like post up in a house, post up in a building, post up on a very high vantage point, and you can place down these tactical walls and have a very good advantage over your enemy. So to really see the full effectiveness of this, obviously you're gonna have to play a bit more passive and stay back. Then we have Rampart's ultimate ability, which is called Emplaced Minigun or Sheila. Place a mountain machine gun that anyone can use, high ammo capacity, long reload time. My first impressions on this ultimate ability right here, or should I say Sheila, is that it does a lot of damage, and if you actually get in a very good position, you can do some serious damage to an enemy team and they'll be in some serious trouble as well. So it's a very good ability if you know how to use it, if you're in a good position, and if you stay back and kind of like time when you actually place down this minigun. So yeah. Now with that being said, right, I've just called out every single one of Rampart's abilities, and one very important thing to note about this legend, guys, is that you need to have a teammate or teammates that understand your role and understand their role as well, because Rampart is not a very aggressive legend, and if you're using Rampart very aggressively, you're not using Rampart correctly. You have to stay back, you have to kind of like almost pressure enemies and kind of like choke enemies into one spot. That way, if you have some aggressive teammates, they could then push the enemies and you could potentially win that gunfight because Rampart has them locked down in one spot. So I would say that right now, Rampart is a very team-based legend, and your teammates need to know when to push. Your teammates also need to know when to hold back, because sometimes Rampart can get flanked on Sheila, and if your teammates are nowhere to be found, it's a balance you need to find, and your teammates need to understand how to play when there's a Rampart on the team. So that's the general playstyle of Rampart. She's very defensive and passive. Now here's some tips to actually make her even more useful and effective in game. Every single one of Rampart's abilities stacks, like you can use every single one to complement the other. Remember her passive ability that gives you more LMG ammo as well as a faster reload time? Well, if you actually use that and place down some armed cover walls, you can basically just spray enemies, you have more bullets, you can reload faster, and it's just a very good mix. So ideally you want to at least use one LMG if you're playing Rampart, so the Devotion, the Spitfire, because it's a very good passive and you actually can tell the reload time is a lot faster as well. So if you're using Rampart, I would say you should use an LMG and a shotgun, an LMG and an SMG, an LMG and an assault rifle, just kind of like a long range gun, the LMG, and a close range gun in case someone flanks you and in case someone wants to rush. Now you can also stack Sheila on top of the armed cover walls, right? So you can do a lot more damage if you place Sheila behind those walls, and trust me guys, Rampart does a lot of damage already without the armed cover walls using Sheila, but if you place the minigun behind those armed cover walls, the damage output is even more insane. So make sure and actually stack those abilities. Always try to use those abilities together because it's a very good combo. The damage you do is kind of borderline OP, guys. Like, trust me, you will down enemies extremely quickly if you pair this ultimate with those armed cover walls. So give it a go, try it out, and let me know your thoughts. Now, what are some of Rampart's weaknesses? As I said, She's not a very aggressive legend, and if an enemy decides to run up on you or flank you and they're in Sheila, you obviously have to kind of like get ready and try to, you know, avoid taking some damage. So again guys, don't try to use Rampart aggressively because she really has no way of escaping gunfights, escaping very sticky situations, because if you just decide to like throw down your arms cover wall, right, and run away, it takes about 3 or 4 seconds for the shield to actually come up, so enemies could still shoot you through that wall from the top. So if you're in a tough situation guys, there's no way to get out and you're gonna die, so you have to play a bit more passive. Don't be aggressive. You will lose against a Wraith and you will lose against more aggressive legends who have ways to avoid taking damage and kind of like retreat. So that's one of the weaknesses of Rampart right now, and the main weakness of Rampart in this game. So overall, I would say that Rampart is extremely strong where she is supposed to be strong. Like in those passive gunfights, in those defensive gunfights, she's borderline OP, she's extremely effective, and she does insane damage as well. If you put Rampart in a close range gunfight, in a 1v2, in any sticky gunfight, you basically have no way to retreat, you have no way to escape. And let's say someone is using Wraith, someone is using Pathfinder even, they have a lot more options to get away, so they could be a bit more aggressive as compared to a defensive legend like Rampart. So what legend tier would I give Rampart right now in season 6? Honestly guys, I would place Rampart as an A tier legend because, as I said, she's very strong where she's supposed to be strong, and I can see her being very effective as well in ranked gameplay. But obviously things are still very early and so much could still change, so we'll see how it actually ends up. But what are your thoughts right now on the brand new season 6 legend? Do you think she's a S tier? Do you think she's a A tier, B tier, C tier, D tier legend? Let me know, and I'll see you guys in some more Apex. Thanks for watching.